You also got your entire education free, and you obviously had 2 internships, full-time internships, which basically means you graduated debt-free with a lot of money saved.
If it's a hiring manager or a director level people, I used to directly email them on their work email.
Any other resources or tools that you used for interview prep or job hunting?
You can expect the base salary anywhere between 110 to $180,000.
180,000. You created the list of companies that
Yes.
you want to now target. First list of companies, and then how did you track all of this?
Masters and PhD interns can earn for RTL or like any semiconductor thing somewhere between $40 to $70 per hour.
When did AMD happen, and like how did that happen? Was it through application or was it through referral?
Total comp, I would say somewhere in between 180 to maybe 280 to 300.
Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or a full-time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship. So check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. Thank you, Prathamesh, for doing this. I am excited because, first of all, you are probably the first one who's going to talk about RTL Designer. I don't even know what that means. So I'm learning, I'm going to learn a lot about that. And I think you're also the first one from AMD. So that's also exciting. But before we get into all your exciting story, can we do like a quick intro? Where are you from? When did you come to United States? When did you do your, I mean, what did you do your master's in? And then, what are you doing right now?
Yeah, sure. So first of all, thank you, Yudi, for having me here. And about me, my name is Prathamesh. I'm from Maharashtra. I did my undergrad in Pune Institute of Computer Technology, and I graduated with the degree in Electronics and Telecommunication back in 2022. And right after that, I came to US for my master's in fall of 22. I landed here on August 18th, 2022, and I did my master's in electrical engineering from Colorado State University. And currently, I'm working as an RTL Design Engineer at AMD San Jose.
Amazing. Oh, wow. You are in Bay Area. Where in
Yes.
San Jose? Is
Yes.
that where you live right now, or do you live?
No,
Oh,
I live in San Jose.
next next time when I come, probably I should visit you, so that way we can do this in person.
Yeah,
But
sure.
again, maybe this is my naive knowledge about RTL. Like, what does
Mhm.
RTL stand for, and like what do you really do?
Okay. So RTL stands for Register Transfer Level. So consider it as the basic or the first step of any chip design.
Hmm.
So RTL design in my job role, basically we write the whatever we are expecting from the chip at a hardware descriptive languages like System Verilog and Verilog. So
Hmm.
basically, we write a code for like having a flip flop here or having a OR get here and get here, and so basically that's the RTL design is just like at the bare bones. We just specify what we want from the chip and what the different things a chip should do. That's
Hmm.
the first
Got
step
it.
of
So it's not necessarily like an hardware position. Like you're not designing
so
the chip.
yeah, technically, if you see in I just code. But for that, I should have the knowledge of all hardware. So basically, I'm writing a circuit in a code format.
Hmm. Got it.
Where,
Okay.
where I want a flip flop, where do I want an OR gate, where do I want a OR gate. I just write all these things in a code. That's it.
And so once you write this code, uh, then it again, I'm very, very naive and I'm trying to really understand this. So you wrote this. So chip, right now there's a chip which does not do anything. This is just like a chip. You got it. Like, okay, now on the top of it, you are saying that, hey, chip, I want you to do all these functionality, and
Okay.
here's what I'm gonna do. Is that correct?
Yeah, partially correct. So it's like this is the first step, and so after that, this we like basically verify the design with the digital verification team, and once it's verified, so this part is called as front end of a chip design,
Hmm.
and there's a back end as well where they on the base on the circuit board they join the blocks of the circuits, whatever like will be the blocks. So we write the functionality that is called as physical designing.
Hmm.
So we send that data to the physical design team, and physical design team, on the basis of what we wrote on the code, on that basis they place the different components on the given area.
Hmm.
Whatever is the architecture is, let's say it's a 3 nanometer architecture, 4 nanometer architecture. Based on that, they literally like puts the different components of the chip, and then they send it to the manufacturers like TSMC, which creates a chip for us, for companies like AMD.
Got it. Okay. And these chips that you are doing, is it for computers, for phones, or does it not really matter?
So basically, so RTL design is just like it's just writing the expectations from what we want from the chip. So basically, the team I am working for, that team contributes to a single part of a chip called UCIe. So
Hmm.
UCIe is a standard developed by all these semiconductor companies like Nvidia, Intel, AMD together. So let's say I'm building a PC and I have a AMD CPU, and if I buy a Nvidia GPU, so the data transmission between them should be seamless. Like there should
Hmm.
not be any compatibility issues. So
Hmm.
all these companies came together and decided, okay, we'll decide this standard, and we will implement it in our every chip, so that user will have the flexibility to buy CPU from here, GPU from there, and he can use it.
Hmm.
So this I work on this UCI. So we get like next projects, like project after project. So my team's work is to implement this UCI thing in every chip of AMD. So currently we are working on one chip, uh, the UCI for that particular chip. So my team makes sure that the compatibility of the UCI with the other things in that particular chip, and then after this is done, then we'll get the next chip, and then we just have to make sure the UCI is compatible with all these things, and make the minor adjustments based on the chip, what's their frequency, what's the bandwidth they want to work on. That's
Got it. Love this. Amazing. I feel like now I know a little bit because I did do a podcast with physical verification chip design. So this person was, their role is to verify.
yeah.
It's like a tester, but it's like in a for chip designing part of it.
Yeah.
And now I understand what they do, because now I you told me what you do, and then there's like also backend team
Yeah.
who also probably has a verification as well. So hey, before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to quickly talk about our newsletter community, which you can be part of absolutely free. We are now going strong and we have more than 40,000 people in our newsletter community. So imagine 40,000 people are receiving my newsletter every single week, twice a week, where I break down all of the stories that we did and make it a valuable resource for you. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to watch this and you just want to get an email with all of the resources into an email, that is the place to be. I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you some example. This is the one for Tanvi, where how she got 2 co-ops and she paid off her entire master's fees. This is an example of Maya, where she got 3 co-ops and she paid off her fees plus a little bit of savings. Here is an example of Sahil, who got his green card in 3 years. Here is an example where we shared bunch of resources on job hunting. So I promise this is going to be valuable resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to be part of our newsletter community, link will be in the description, or you can go to link.udj.com/newsletter. This is the URL. And now I'll let you enjoy the video. Can we like do this? Is it possible for you to like like mental model for what are different career paths if someone were to do masters in electrical engineer.
Okay.
Like obviously you said like RTL design, then there's a verification engineer.
Yeah.
Maybe there are a bunch of other positions. Like if
Yes.
you could like guide, like here are 10 roles that most common people can design.
Okay. So first would be RTL design, then the design verification thing, and this is almost like I would say 60% same as RTL design. Like you need the basic knowledge of Verilog and system Verilog, but for verification you need much more knowledge. Like there are some verification methodologies like UVM and all. Then
Hmm.
the next role would be physical design, where you should know like there are few physical design softwares, and for that then there's third another role is called as silicon validation. So silicon
Hmm.
validation is something which like once we send the design to TSMC sends us back some test chips. So validation is like we have to physically go put the chip in the lab and run bunch of tests on it and just validate if everything is working fine. So
Hmm.
verification generally happens pre-silicon, and validation happens post-silicon.
Hmm.
Then after that, these digital verification. Then there is firmware engineer. So firmware is a set of code which translates the software into the hardware languages, which sits on the hardware. So firmware engineer would be one thing, and there are like then there's embedded engineer, where the embedded engineers basically like so the embedded is also a very big umbrella that like robotics and mechatronics, these things comes under that, which are also the part of electrical engineering.
Hmm.
And then
Okay.
there are some roles in power engineering, power electronics, where you deal with megavolts, multivolts, uh, these things.
Got it. Okay. I'm going to share my screen. As you were saying things, I was like noting down. So people might see, like, oh, why am I not paying attention? I was paying attention. Let me share my screen quickly. This is the beginning, very beginning of it.
Yes.
RCL designer. So this is where chip designing happening. Then
Yeah.
this is, you said like there is a chip verification. Like, is it correct?
Yeah, it's a next part of RTL design. So we have to send our code to chip verification team to verify whatever designs we wrote, is it working fine or not.
Okay. So this people verifies RTL designer
Yeah.
work. Okay. And then there's like an back end side of thing, physical chip designer. With I don't know if that's the role
Yeah.
or not. Okay.
Yeah. Just
And
physical design engineer or physical designer.
okay.
Yeah.
And this where you guys did the front end, and they do the back end work.
Yes.
Is there a test team for this as well?
So basically, they just test it by their own. So there is a thing called LEC where we compare that whatever we wrote on RTL, is it translating to the physical design? Because whatever RTL we wrote, that is already verified with
Hmm.
the verification team. So there is a software which compares the whatever is the RTL and whatever is the chip design. Is it matching? And if it's matching, then it's already verified. So there is
Got
no
it.
designated team for it.
Nice. Okay.
Silicon validation.
Silicon validation. Okay. And so what are they validating?
So they like there are few validation team generally, once we get the chip back from the foundry, so we call it foundry. So AMD sends it to TSMC and to generate. So after the physical design team validates it, there's a thing called netlist we generate. It's like a file which says what we want from the team, and then we send it to the like chip manufacturer like TSMC. Once we get it back, silicon validation actually puts the chip into the, like we will have the physical chip at that time. All
Hmm.
the things before that will be just like they call it pre-silicon, because we won't have the physical chip with us. And
Got it.
once we get back the chip, that is post silicon, where we'll like actually put the chip in the in the test board, and like run bunch of tests on it, like try to run the test at like minus 40 degree to plus 60 degrees, and just validate that whatever we are getting, the outputs, those are like eh, those are as per our requirements basically.
Got it, got it. And of course, I'm not trying to interview you, and I'm not going to give you any job. So people, please say like this. He was not prepared for this. So thank you again for being so generous to like answer all my question and like building a roadmap for a lot of people. So silicon validation is going on. Then you mentioned about firmware engineer. So and then embedded engineer, and then of course there's few other things which we
Yeah.
won't get there, but
Yeah.
firmware engineer, what do they do?
So basically, firmware is a part of a code which sits on the top of a hardware. So let's say somebody writes a code, a C code, basically, if a
Hmm.
person
Yeah,
writes a
yeah,
C.
yeah.
So the firmware makes sure to convert that code in a language or in a form the hardware will understand.
Oh, okay,
So
got
so firmware people has to deal with the hardware with a bit of a software, and that's the like bird eye view for the firmware engineering, I would say. So
got it.
there would be like to let's say a silicon validation engineer wants to run a particular script on this thing. So before that, he has to have a software or a piece of code from the firmware engineer, which will act as an intermediate between the test written by silicon validation engineer and the chip on the board.
Hmm.
That's what a firmware engineer does.
Great. Okay. Are there like validation people for these as well, or is this the two roles and then they just work
Yeah, these
along?
are totally different roles, like validation and firmware.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those are two different, but then there's no another testing role to validate this work.
No, I think the validation is the testing part itself. So
Okay, gotcha. Got it. Okay.
they don't like develop anything. They just have to like make sure that whatever is expected from the chip, it's doing with like the changes in temperature. So there are like few validation teams where they test the like thing, test the chip. Let's say your chip is like transmitting data, so they'll try to add some noise and see if the chip is can bear the noise, if it can still make out the signal. So it just they just checks all the corner cases
Got it.
on the actual chip.
Got it. Okay. Um, and so, and then you mentioned about embedded engineering as well.
Yeah.
What do they do?
So embedded engineering is kind of a uh, yeah, these have like basically robotics is a part of embedded engineering. So they work with actuators and sensors, and it's basically like electronic automation or like creating a robotic arm. I'm just giving a very large level answer that whatever like in electronics which you see, basically even like a Tesla engineer will it comes under a embedded engineer,
Hmm.
and they basically code for the hardware to do a certain things. So there
Okay.
will be like microcontrollers, microchips, and they tell those hardwares that how you should behave. That is what an embedded engineer does.
Got it. Love it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So technically, again, there could be more roles, but we are saying that these are potential roles that typically people go into, whether it is RTL, chip verification design engineer, physical chip designer, silicon validation engineer. All of these are different roles that are available, and people pick their path and then they go into one of them. Is that fair?
Oh, yep.
Got it. Okay. Um, did you know that you wanted to get into the RTL part, or did that just happen?
So I was confused between RTL and embedded, to be honest, when I came here.
Hmm.
That's why I chose the larger umbrella of electrical, so that like I because in undergrad I had an internship in an embedded, and that I enjoyed pretty much. So after coming here in the first semester, I took one course in embedded and one course in RTL or like basically digital designing. and I like the digital designing course more. So after that, from second semester, I curated my whole coursework based on the digital designing, and I just went on that path.
Amazing. Love it. Okay. Did you, before coming to United States, did you know that these were the career paths, or like when did you know that these are different career paths available and I should focus my career on this path?
uh, I had like a vague idea of it. Like the I didn't know like in this depth like what are the different things and like what every role does. But I knew like there is a digital designing part which develops a chip. Embedded designing is something where I don't develop the chip, but once I get the chip, I write the code on the chip to make us a thing.
Yeah.
So I just knew it vaguely, but like I knew what every particular branch does. So, and after coming here, when in the first semester when I took those courses, like things got much more clearer. After coming here, I talked with my professors and with seniors. So like I feel the fog went away and things got much more
Yeah.
clearer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you had like a vague idea. Then you came here. You're like, okay, I know these are possible 7, 8 careers available.
Yes.
And then you started exploring which one do I really enjoy. And then
Yes.
you started designing your career that way. Of course, that's the beauty of American education that you can do that. The reason I was asking you this is now that you have gone through this journey, you are working, in AMD. Uh,
Mhm.
People who are planning to come for masters in electrical engineering or computer engineering and wanting to have this career, what
Mhm.
would you tell them that they should come with the career clarity that okay, these are options, and figure out that where do you want to go, so then you are more proactive than coming here and oh wow, like I didn't even know these all existed.
Yeah, I feel like having that idea beforehand makes I would say a huge difference. Because I feel that comes handy while choosing the university. That's what I feel. Because
Hmm.
if I would have known beforehand that I want to go in this path, there are better universities which has the courses curated more towards this thing,
Hmm.
and like they have more courses based on like something regarding RTL or something. So if I would have known it previously, I was if I would have been sure about yes, I want to go in this path, I would have chose any of those universities than getting into something which is like generalized and all.
Yeah, and possibly also once you know, then you would also choose courses accordingly. You would
Yes,
do projects accordingly.
yes,
You could look up the professors who are like teaching this and bunch of things. Maybe also even a step further in your research, you could see like, oh, AMD, Qualcomm, Nvidia, these are all in California. Like,
yeah.
so maybe choose something which is closer to that. Again, I don't know if location was a disadvantage for you or not, but we'll get to that part in a minute. But yeah, amazing. Thank you so much for being so candid and like trying to answer all my vague questions. Now let's jump into more of the internships, hunting, and full-time
Mhm.
job. Did
Yeah,
you have internship?
yeah, I had 2 internships.
Oh, two internships. Okay. So walk me through, when did you start your masters, and then like when did you look for internship?
Yeah, so I started my master's in fall of 22.
Hmm.
I had my first internship in summer of 23,
Hmm.
and I had my next internship in spring of 24. That was my last semester of my master's.
So that would be like a co-op type of
Yeah,
situation where you are doing the internship and doing your last semester.
I just had like 3 credits left, so I could take those online and work full time as an intern here.
Amazing.
Yes.
That is amazing. And again, for people who don't know, you
Mhm.
also got your entire education kind of free.
Yeah,
And you obviously had two internships, full-time
yeah,
internships, which basically means you graduated debt free with a lot of money saved.
yep, that's true.
That must be such an amazing feeling to like not have the stress to graduate one in a recession type of situation, and I don't have any debt. Like this is amazing.
Yeah, it was like very much stress relieving.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And of course, we're gonna film like a whole another video about your experience at Colorado State University. So let's talk about the summer 2023 internship. Where did you get it, and what was the role?
So for summer 23 internship, I had two offers. The one which I went with was with AMD
Mm.
as a silicon validation engineer, not the RTL design. And yeah, and the another one was for a design verification engineer
Mm.
at a company called Lattice Semiconductors.
Got it. Okay. Of course, I know why you went with the AMD
Yeah.
brand. Of course, and then is that what converted into full time?
So technically, it's a bit complicated story. So I got the fall co-op also with the same team. Actually, right after the summer, my team gave me a extension for the fall
Mm.
as well.
Mm.
But my university didn't allow international students to work more than 20 hours if you have more than 3 credits left for your graduation.
Yeah, makes
So
sense.
yeah, and anyways, I had a TA for my fall semester. So after summer, I went back to my university, did the fall internship as a full time student, and completed around 14 credits in that semester, and left with only three at the end.
Mm.
And I took those online and came back in California to do my spring co-op.
Mm.
At the end of the start of the spring co-op, I asked like, is there any chance for conversion because I was graduating in May. But my manager said we were not sure about the budgeting and will
Mm.
they be able to open a new rec. And with my manager's permission, I asked for like, can I start applying internally through AMD's internal portal? He gave me permission. I applied for this role. I got the offer, and at the end of the internship, my internship team
Mm.
offered me a full time. Uh,
Amazing.
but yeah, by the time I already signed the offer letter with this team and went ahead with this team, so I had to reject that and went ahead with the same.
Oh, what a bummer. Yeah. But what a luxury having two people vouching like, hey, we want you. So it's an amazing thing. We should talk about that. We will talk about what did you do in your internship
Yes.
that convinced them, like, so how to optimize your internship opportunities to convert into full time. But sounds like AMD was the thing, and then you just in the spring when you had only 3 credits the last semester, you just went back to them saying like, "Hey, I'm available.
Yeah.
Would you?" And then they just said like, "Yep, we would love to have you." Then you moved back and you did that. Okay, cool. And complicated story. Like again, you applied internally, so had another thing, and then also converted this into full time. So let's go back to AMD, like job hunting mode.
Yeah.
When did you start applying? So you came in fall 2022
Yes.
or summer internship of 2023, 1 year
Yes.
from them. When did
Yeah.
you like really started applying?
I started applying in like around mid of November 2022.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I took like some people start applying a little early. I thought I took a little bit more time to get adjust with the US lifestyle, I feel. And then yeah, I started in like second week of November
Hmm.
2020.
Did you feel you were running late? That
I did feel when I started, but yeah, I made up for it. Like I
Of
put
course you
more
did.
effort.
Right, yeah. Yeah, but in general you felt like when you started you felt like, oh my gosh, like people are already getting interviews, people, some of them are getting offers. Did you feel that or no?
Yeah, I kind of felt that like I when I started in November, I felt, oh, I am already running out of time. It's already too late. Yeah, like people were getting internships and everything. But yeah, I thought like there's nothing which I can do on the past time. So now just head down and I'll start working on it and
Yeah.
continue.
Nice. Now looking back, would
Mhm.
you recommend people to start as early as possible?
Oh yeah, definitely. I will start. You should start as soon as you land in US. I feel you should start applying for internship.
Amazing. Which technically means that they should have things ready before coming to United States.
Totally, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when you said starting November, you started like applying slash like look actively looking.
Mhm.
What were the few things that you started doing? Like, like if you were to break down, like, okay, I'm running late. I've now, I just said I need to start applying for internship, but I need to have all of these things.
Yeah.
What were those things that you started working on?
Okay. So first thing, resume. So thankfully, I found few people in my university who were willing to do the resume review. There were a professor and I took a coursework and there was a special guest from a different department in my university. He was like, I just mailed him like, would you help me with my resume? And thankfully he agreed. So first thing was I made a first draft of my resume and got validated from them. They suggested few changes. I made those changes. I can check with them. So back and forth with that. So made a initial resume to apply, and for, for the application, I initially started vaguely applying on LinkedIn, which I don't recommend. But yeah, initially I didn't.
Why would you not recommend? I mean, when you say not recommend, you mean like not applying through LinkedIn, but look for the jobs and going to the company's portal and apply?
Yes, so that's the thing. Like initially, I was just like opening the LinkedIn, going to the jobs tab. Every whatever jobs are popping up, I was applying one by one, and I feel that was very inefficient process. Like
Hmm.
they were like I later I pivoted to much more efficient process to where like when I listed down all the companies, and I feel that happened just with the iterations, and I figured out the things that I was just learning from my mistakes that I am not getting. Also, I think this is I'm getting wrong, or like I'm not because of this I'm wasting a lot of time in like putting the same info in all the job things. So I can like streamline this process, or I can make it more efficient.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, if I were to rephrase what you're saying, you were initially you were focused on quantity. You were like, let's just apply, same generic information. You
Yes.
pivoted from that to more quality application, where you listed down, here are the 15 companies I really want to work for. Going to
Yes.
the company, what are they looking for?
Yes.
Assuming this, I'm making an assumption, you modified your resume so
Yes.
that is relevant to the position, and then apply to it. Is that
Yes.
fair?
Totally.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Amazing. I love it. This is what I actually teach as well. So I wanted to make sure I got it right. So, uh, is it too much for me to ask you if you could share like your resume to see what it looks like?
But this is just like my thinking. I'm not sure how much it affected, but I thought if there's a recruiter who has like 1,000 resumes in front of him, and if like out of the 1,990 are of like exactly the same design, exactly the same content, so I just tried to modify the design a little bit, still keeping it very easy to read and not like adding some colors or something, but just changing the font or like making the heading of it a little more bold so that it will be easier to navigate through resume. That's the only thing which I did differently.
So you
And
essentially from one column you went to two columns, and
two
then
columns. Yeah, plus another thing is like if you see the generic resume, what everybody has is uh, like it's. I feel it gives a little bit of whiplash going through the resumes when everything is exactly the same. Like
hmm,
every so this is something which is like different where like I I try to distinguish between my different sections of the resume like skills, summary, education, and even like the headers. Uh, like I just wanted to differentiate so that if anybody wants to navigate through my resume,
yeah, you made it readable
yes,
and accessible easily, so it's easy to read,
yeah,
bolding some statements, etc.
yeah. Like if a person unknown to me wants to know about me, he can just to go through whatever things he wants and just try to differentiate or make it clear as much as I could.
Nice. Okay. And so the meat is obviously you have skills and then the education, but then the basic, like the main part of it is like employment, which is like work experience, and then
Yes,
projects, which are like your academic projects. Um,
yes.
and I'm assuming all the projects are your master's project. Is that?
Yeah, except this one, the last one. One project was from my internship back in India,
Hmm.
and all others are from my masters.
Nice. And then you had two internship experience, looks like you have
Yeah.
mentioned it in your back in India before you
Yes.
came to United States, and like no real full-time experience.
No, I just graduated in 2022 and immediately I
Became, yeah.
US.
So though again, this is important for people to know, because a lot of people think that only experienced people get jobs, or in your case, the experience that you do have is the internship experience, which still works. So great. Okay.
I feel like this is like not too relevant to the job I got, but yeah, I feel like experience does not matter that much. You should be just focused on your skills and making you more polished and like more suitable to the job. That is what
Mm,
matters. That's what
mm.
I
Yeah.
yeah.
And in this case, of course, is there anything specific that you would want to highlight from employment and projects perspective?
I feel like a lot of people focus on like doing some high-end projects and like spend a lot of things to just find a very cool project
Mm,
which will highlight on which works. But I feel if you are applying for internship or applying for a new college grad roles, rather than spending time on finding a better project, I feel whatever project you have, make it more refined or like know in and out of that project. So if you use one technology for that project, so I got these questions in my interview that, oh, you use this technology, what are the other things you could have used, so why you only use this, not the other ones. So I feel we should spend more time on knowing our projects rather than just finding another a new project and adding it in your resume. Because
mm,
I feel in for internship or new grad, what I observed is they don't expect that you should know everything, but they just expect whatever you know, you should know it very well.
mm. Yeah. And I am again making a guess. In your projects is where you used a lot of keywords which were relevant to the job that you were applying to. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes, and also I highlighted the skills section at the top, so that if a hiring manager is looking for something at the top, only he'll understand like what I am capable of, like or what the things which I can do, so
Mm.
that like he can decide that if you wanna go ahead with it or not.
Amazing. Great.
Yeah.
This was very helpful. Now, so you said you worked on your resume, assuming
Yes.
you also worked on your LinkedIn optimization a little bit as well.
Yes.
And then you started applying,
Yes.
and initially quantity application, then you moved on to quality application. Uh,
Yes.
did you focus on networking at all, like cold emails and referrals and all of it, or no?
Yes, I did. Not that much for internship, but after that, I understood the importance of it. So when I was doing my full time search, at that time, I focused on cold emailing, and I was DMing people on LinkedIn and like directly emailing them as well. And I spent like a good chunk of my time on these things as well.
Okay. So how did, so this is happening January. Now you're in the second semester. When did AMD happen, and like how did that happen? Was it through application, or was it through like referral?
So my AMD happened through the application.
Mm,
I applied for this particular position in like first week of March,
mm.
and I got the first call in last week of March. And that was the initial was just a team member. He asked me for my availabilities for a phone screening round, and that was just a phone screening round that lasted for like around 45 to 50 minutes. And on the
Only
same day,
5 to 50 minutes for a phone screening. Like, what did they ask you?
they actually just went through my whole resume.
Okay.
So like explaining my every past experience, every project. Yeah, what I mentioned, like that was one of the questions. So there was one technology in my one project that I then he was like, oh, what the type of machine is this? Oh, it's this. Then why don't you use the other one? What are the benefits of this?
Even in phone screening, that is so interesting. Okay.
It was like I feel it was like phone screening was with the team member. It wasn't like
Mm.
HR or something. So I feel in the phone screening around 80% questions were technical. So it
Mm.
was kind of
Yeah,
like
that's very rare, because typically phone screening is like, "Hey,
yes,
who are you? Okay, are you available? Your immigration status, and so on and so forth." Like it's just bunch of behavior questions. Like, okay, can you start this thing? And then typically then there's like a little bit more hiring manager round, team member round. But
yes.
in your case, of course, different. situation. But okay, so phone screening happened. What
Yeah.
then?
Yeah. So on the same day in the evening, he asked me for my availabilities for the next week for the 3 hours round with three consecutive rounds. Two with the other two team members, and third with the last one with the hiring manager. And so I gave the availability after 4 weeks, and on that day I had like three consecutive calls, and so all three were technical. The second round was a little bit of analytical as well, where they gave me some puzzles to solve to
Mm,
just to see how I'm thinking, and most of them were like purely technical.
mm.
And after that, after around 10 to 12 days after that thing, I got the mail from HR that I'm selected.
Nice, amazing. And so you said you had two offers. One
Yeah,
was obviously AMD.
yeah.
The other one, how did that happen? Or
So
did
that
you get any other interview calls? And if they did, like, was
yeah.
that, how did that happen?
So I got total four interview calls for internship.
Hmm.
Uh, Two of them were from the same company called Analog Devices, and those were before AMD.
Hmm.
And both of them, like for the first one, the that went with with the first phone screening, and then four rounds of interview back to
Hmm.
back, and I got rejection after that. So that was a big
Hmm. Probably
disappointment that time.
soul
And
crushing.
yeah, yeah, totally. That was like my first interview experience kind of in my life. So that was like
Oh,
a
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
How
had a
did
lot of
you dealt with the rejection?
yeah, it was definitely pretty disappointing. But I heard the stories from my seniors or a lot of stories from your channel as well
Hmm.
that rejection is a part of the this journey, and like already was used to getting a lot of rejection on mail first time
Yeah.
got after the interview. So yeah, it
You
was
see,
definitely
the rejection on the email is slightly less hurtful than the
yeah,
rejection after going 4 rounds of interview.
yeah, definitely. And like at that time, I was like pretty confident that I will get because
Hmm.
as per my views, that was a good Those were the good interviews. But yeah, I got a
You
rejection.
know, like what, like now retrospecting, do you know where you could have gone wrong, and these are the things you like improved because of
Yeah,
that?
so it was like out of those four, there was one round where they asked more about object-oriented programming, more of software things, and yeah, I could have been a little more prepared for that thing. That's what I
Hmm.
feel. Yeah,
Mm.
but
And you mentioned a few books that you read for the interview process. What were they?
the mainly there was one called "Cracking the VLSI Digital Design Interview."
Okay.
Uh,
Yes.
I'm not sure who's the author of it. It has a green cover and it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We all have, like, there's a cracking the PM interview, there's a cracking the
yes,
coding interview, and then there's cracking the, yes, I know. I'll put it in
yes.
the link in the description. So
Yeah,
okay.
that's a very helpful book. Like it has around 600 questions, and they divided the questions based on topics. So if you want to just refine one topic, there are like questions for that particular topic.
Hmm.
And the questions they like start with very basic question and gradually increase the difficulty levels of the question.
Hmm.
So whenever I want to practice a particular thing, I could just go like, as I know it's gonna get difficult. So if I want a little more difficult, I would start from the back or something like. So that one book I feel, and then there were like conceptual books. There was one called Contemplating Digital Design,
Okay.
uh, and yeah, that's there was one in computer architecture as well. These were the books which I used to refer.
And any other resources or tools that you used for interview prep for job hunting?
Um, Not exactly any resources. So like I just used to write down the topics and I used to search the topic on YouTube. So for every topic there you'll find like bunch of tutorials on YouTube. So I think that's more than sufficient. I did a couple of courses on Udemy as well,
Okay.
but
And
that's
then
the
when you
same.
said topics, like how did you know that these are the topics that you should prepare for?
So I used to go on forums like Reddit or Quora. They're like people would ask me, "Oh, I'm applying for this role. What are the things I should know?" So there will be bunch of topics by other people.
Okay.
Another thing is on job descriptions, there will be mention of this particular topic on a lot of job descriptions. So, oh, okay, I understood this is something which is important, and this is something in demand, and hiring managers are looking for it. So I have to be more proficient in this one. So I used to spend more
Mm.
time on it.
Got it. Okay. So 4 rounds of analog, and how you said that was? Did you get it through applying, or did you get it through?
Yeah. So all my internship, I got it through applying.
Okay, got it. And so rejection, and then other 4 other interviews. Did you
Yeah.
say?
Yeah, for the from analog devices, there were two different teams which reached out to me. The second team, in the phone screening only, we understood like what they were looking wasn't me. Like they were looking for some different skills, and like at that time only, like we both understood that we are not a good fit for each other. So
Mm,
the first team with them, they had like cumulatively 5 rounds with one phone and four technical. Got
mm,
registered after that. Then the third, lattice semiconductor. So here I feel that is something which I want to highlight is applying for a very less known company. So lattice semiconductor is not like very well known company, and
mm,
so I remember I applied for that company like around night at around 10:30 a.m. and next day morning 8 a.m. I got a call from HR.
mm,
So that was a very quick response, or like something which I was looking for, where these big companies, they tend to keep you hanging for like months. These are small companies, they got back to me very fast. And even for that company, I applied it around mid March, and I got with that company, the first call was with HR. They just asked me like a basic phone interview with like my availabilities, when can I start, and everything. And then for that company, the first round was with the hiring manager, and that lasted for like around an hour, and that was purely technical.
mm,
And after that, like there was a break of around 3 weeks. They didn't got back to me, and after that, the hiring manager got back to me saying that you are one of the few people who are the final round, and you'll have one more round of interview. So I had one more round of interview with another team member that was also technical. And after 2 rounds, like after the second interview, after a week, I got a call from HR saying that you're selected.
nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And one of the things that you also mentioned is you created the list of companies that
Yes.
you want to now target.
Yes.
One, do you like what were some of those list of companies, if you can share? And then, second follow up question is, I'm assuming this is a lot of information. You probably kept track of all of
Yes.
this thing, and then how did you track all of this? So first list of companies, and then how did you track all of this?
Yeah. I have the list of companies. Should I share the screen, or
Yeah,
should I just
sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
So for all of these things, I used to use Notion
Hmm.
for keeping tracks
I
of
love
company,
Notion.
keeping, keeping track of all of my applications and everything. So list of companies would be,
Oh wow, that is
yeah. So these are the companies.
job search 2.0. That is amazing. Why do you say 2.0? Because 1.0
First,
was
1.0 was internships. This is
okay.
like,
Acha, okay. That is amazing. Is it possible for you to send me this
yeah, sure.
doc, or okay, cool. So then I
Yeah,
can share it with others as well.
yeah, sure. I'll send you this
And
out.
and how did you come up with this list of companies?
So I used to just Google like companies which are hiring in semiconductor field in US,
Hmm.
and then I got like, and then if I am seeing on LinkedIn that okay, this particular company is hiring, so I just used to add, or there were some posts on LinkedIn, or like in jobs tab, if I see a new job, I used to just add those things in this list.
Got it. Okay. Uh, did you also do like a verification of like, is this company sponsoring visa or not? Or for now, you're like, I just need to get an interview call.
Yeah, like to be honest, these were like mostly I was targeting for internships. So I know for internships like sponsorship,
Yeah, it's not important.
so, I wasn't like looking for the companies which sponsor. But I remember you mentioned in one of the videos there was a Chrome extension,
Yeah.
F1 Hire. and
Yes.
I had that on. So, anyways, if I used to go on the company profile, it used to show me that they sponsor the visa. So, and
Mm.
another thing I observed in VLSI domain, the companies which sponsor, like around 99% companies sponsor the visa. So there were like very rare companies which I came across. They say they don't sponsor the visa.
Mm.
So
Mm.
that wasn't a big issue for me, to be honest.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else that you tracked in? I think maybe also interview questions you said
Yeah.
you noted down.
Yes, I did. Let me just put interview experiences. Yeah. So these were the including full time and internship. So the analog internship, analog devices. So after
Oh
that,
wow. Okay.
I used to create like the like what are the questions they ask me in various rounds,
Mm.
and
Mm.
I kept this thing as well. I think it's not opening. This was the job description I should
Mm.
have for this thing. Yeah. So this was the job description, and what are the questions they asked me in the various rounds.
And I'm assuming the process would be you finish the interview and then you were like, okay, let me just write it down because then this will help you in the future interviews.
Yes, totally. Right after the interview, I used to write down all the questions so that I should not do the same mistake again in the next round of interview, or if there's some other companies asking me for
Yeah.
the interview.
Would you again be kind enough to share this as well?
I'll share you the whole Notion page. So
Amazing. That is cool. Another question I keep getting asked is LinkedIn Premium. I usually recommend to my students as well that yes, you should get LinkedIn Premium. It is worth it. But what did you have LinkedIn Premium, and like, what's your take on that?
I totally agree with you. I had in LinkedIn Premium. I bought it in December of 20. After a month, I started, and it's totally worth it. I feel like it totally justifies its prices. Because without on the free version, they have the limitation of you can only search for five profile in 24 hours.
Mm.
So I used to feel that like if I'm applying, and if I'm in that zone of applications, and after five things, like LinkedIn just used to block the saying you reached your daily limit. That was like a sudden drop in productivity. That's what I felt.
Yeah.
So I feel like, and even reaching out to the people, the suggestions which it gives you on the sides, and premium, it's way better, and I feel it's you should go for it.
Love it. Now that you've gone through this whole process, you have the internship experience, full-time experience, full-time job as well. Is there anything different you would do in your journey?
um I feel I would reach out to more people which will be in the authority to give me a job, or like pass my resume.
Mm.
So when I used to cold DM, I used to like send the emails or the DMs to the people of that particular company. Let's say I want in Nvidia, so I just used to search Nvidia Santa Clara. These are the people. I'll mail them. Or like I understood that when I'm in the other side, when I'm working in AMD, I'm getting in the text, but I know I'm not in a position to give you a job or give
Yeah.
you an internship.
Yeah.
So I feel if I'm starting today, I'll find the people who are like manager, senior manager, director, who has the
Yeah.
authority to create an internship, or if they have an internship under them, they can pass my resume. So I would be more specific about the people, I feel.
110%. You just nailed it. Like, yeah, yeah. I mean, this is the exact one thing I keep saying. Like, referral links from random people is not a referral. Like, it's not going to work because they have no influence over the decision of recruiter or a hiring manager. You
Yes.
want to find, like, if Prathamesh's team is hiring and he has some form of relationship with the hiring manager, then
Yes.
Prathamesh will be able to at least make a good word for you. But
True.
if you are like applying for some random software engineer position where the Prathamesh
Yes.
has no connection with it,
Yes.
there's no way his referral will work. At least that's what I understand. Maybe there is a slightly nuance to that, that you might be able to figure out who the recruiter is and then say like, hey, I don't know this, but this is a recruiter, maybe you can reach out to them. So there's at
Yes.
least that like a more strategic networking can happen.
Yeah.
But I think reaching out to the hiring manager would be the ideal thing, or director, because then the director can say like, hey, this is the hiring manager, reach out to this person. Or say like, hiring manager, someone reached out to me, you might want to check this person out.
True. Yeah. More specific, if I am applying for RTL design or physical design, I'll see director of RTL design or director of physical design. So he'll know bunch of teams who are working in the same domain. And yeah, whatever you said is totally
Is it possible, can we do like this live like a demo at all? Again, I'm throwing you like off the pedestal, like, can we do this?
yeah.
Now that, imagine you're like now looking for a job in Nvidia, for example, and like AMD people, he loves you, he's not leaving you, I'm just making you do this. Can we do this? Can we share like a LinkedIn
Yes.
screen, and then walk them through how would you filter and find the right targeted people?
Sure. So NVIDIA. So I used to search NVIDIA uh, hiring and a keyword RTL maybe.
Mm.
So I used to find like people as well like this who has hiring in their thing. And also if I like, so these were the two strategies. So people, if I find this person and I know this would be a helpful person for me, then either I used to text them, and I have a template for that as well, I'll show you, and
And looks like you're sorry, you looks like you're also using Apollo, which is another
yes,
thing that I teach in my course as well, that
yes,
this is how you can find the email of the person, and then you can email them versus just DMing them on LinkedIn, because this guy might not be active on on the LinkedIn, so at least
yes,
they will be active on their email regardless.
totally.
We don't want to show their email, but
Yeah.
you know yeah. But is that like the right strategy?
Totally. So if it's a hiring manager or a director level people, I used to directly email them on their work email, and for that, this was my. I'll just show you what mail I used to send them. Mm, yeah. So this was.
Direct attack. Love that. Hi, I'm an electrical engineering student at Colorado State. I'm looking for full-time opportunities. I have prior experience working in ASEC domain. Is there any position available? Got it. Okay.
And this is for like so this message like if they don't say it's hiring, if I find a director or something, if someone says I am hiring or like something, and then I used to send this message. Oh, sorry.
It's okay. We can see your grocery list as well. Just kidding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So if someone says hiring in this, the NVIDIA guy said that he's hiring.
Then
So
he used to be.
yeah,
Then he used to be there.
nice. Okay. Uh,
Or if
Great.
I'm sending on LinkedIn, then this used to be the first message on the LinkedIn. So this was if I want to just make a connection, then the note it says like add connect with a note. Then I used
Hmm.
to use this thing, and
And
if they,
what would you say to the people who feel they are lazy enough to send a connection note? I have 8,000 requests and I never see a note in that.
I feel you are just wasting your time by sending a connection request and not sending with the note, because it's like you have the opportunity to stand out and you're not opting for it.
And it's a
Um,
free thing that is
exactly.
giving
Yes,
some context to the person that you're trying to connect. Don't be lazy by just clicking that button.
yes. I
It's
feel
like
like,
a,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Go ahead, go
I
ahead.
cannot send a single request without any message. It can be a small message, a greetings or something, but you have to have a note while sending the connection request.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, agree, 100%. Okay. Moving on to your thing. Yeah.
If they're not hiring,
Yeah, so these days, after they have accepted, then you do like
yeah.
a follow up thing,
Yes,
and you try to build this relationship. Nice,
yes,
great.
yeah,
Okay, let's go back to NVIDIA hiring
yeah,
example.
yeah.
So
So yeah,
in your case, you would do an NVIDIA hiring RTL, go to the
yes,
list of people, and
yes.
then you said
List
you
of
would. Mm,
yeah. I used to directly mail him list of people, as well as I used to search for posts as well. There used to be a bunch of posts which I'm hiring or for this thing. Then just the sort one filter that is
The
filtering this.
United States, yeah.
It's yes. So I'm hiring, and I used to do this for companies sometimes without any company name. If I
Mm,
don't have just hiring RTL would also give me a good results of posts which are hiring in that domain.
mm.
And then with this also I found out a lot of new companies which I didn't know that they were hiring, and then I used to add those companies in my list and keep a track of them from their careers page as well.
And so you would reach out to these people.
Yes, illustrate that.
Got it. Okay. Nice. Amazing. Is there any advice for people who have internship?
Mhm.
To what did you do in your internship that convinced them that they should hire you?
I feel always keep asking and keep learning. That's the only thing.
Mm,
Because as you are intern, they don't expect that you should know everything. They just and I feel people who hire an intern like uh, it's a controversial, but I feel 90 to 95% of them they hire just to make you as a full time employee in the future. Like internship is like a training period. They'll train you in that period. They'll hire you for the full time. So I feel just learn as much as you can. Be if there's a one process, if they want you to do this, and if you ask, oh, what is this doing, or why we are doing this, why we are connecting this or doing that, I feel it's this is what according to my observation, this is what the companies want. This is what the people expect from you. They don't expect you should know everything. They just expect that you should learn and you should be on there, like you should grasp all the knowledge as much as you can in your internship. And another thing would be document everything. I used to have another Notion page with literally every task, what I did, what are the challenges I faced. And at the end of the internship, AMD had this mandatory thing that we had to present our internship present end of internship presentation of with whatever we did. But even if you don't have that, I feel you should present it. Oh, okay. Over the course of internship, I learned this. This is something which I worked on. These are the problems I faced and I navigated through this. Even if you don't get the solution, you can say that these are the various things which I tried but failed in this manner.
mm.
So I think this just shows that you are eager to learn, or you at least try to get the, even if you don't get the expected results, you will learn about that particular thing. Uh,
100%. And you want to update your resume because and so you, uh, trust me on this when I say this that you will forget what you did 2 months ago, 3 months ago. So documenting every week, that okay, I worked on these projects, these are the outcomes, these are the accomplishment. Maybe your manager shares that okay, we got our project approved, so and so, having this ready so that way when you are done with the internship you can upload it in your LinkedIn, you can upload it in your resume. Keeping it up to date is going to be helpful because I can't think of like 6 years from now like what did I do in that job. So having this, because this will also not only just update the resume, also help you in your interview stories when the next interview happens. So yeah, 100% agree with that thing. So I
Well,
love.
I actually agree with you that like I can't remember what I did 2 months back.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can just go back and I know I worked on those things. So it's just a matter of a glance. Once I understood, I picked up the
Yeah, and
keywords.
then your
I have
memory will recall.
the
Yeah.
refresh.
Yeah.
And even in interview, they ask, "Oh, did you do this? Why did you don't do that?" So if I just before the interview, if I go through all my experience, I can convince them much better that what I did, and I can justify whatever I did. So yeah,
Mm,
keep
yeah.
it.
Love it. Again, everybody would love to know, does RTL or electrical people make money? So I know they do. But what kind of like give me a salary range for internship and then also full time.
Okay, so for internship, I'm talking specifically about Bay Area. Interns with either masters or PhD, like bachelor's interns earn a little less, but masters and PhD interns can earn for RTL or like any semiconductor thing somewhere between $40 to $70 per hour.
70?
Yes,
Oh
I
my gosh.
met in Adobe. He was a PhD student, but he used to earn some $72 per hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. For people who don't know, in
Yes.
internships, you get paid hourly. The reason I'm like extremely shocked for $72, if you do the math, you do 72 by into 40 hours, that's your 1 week, and then you have 4 weeks in a month. And so if you do the math, that's roughly $11,000 as an internship. That is like, oh my gosh, that is crazy, especially if that internship extends and you do it for an entire semester, which, in Prathamesh's case, he did the 3 months of internship in summer and then another 4 months in spring.
Yes.
You can do the math. That'll be amazing. Plus he did the free education. That's even better. This just keeps getting better. What
Yep.
about full-time role in the Bay Area?
So full-time role for a new college grad, you can so if you are a undergrad, they'll give you a designation of engineer one. If you're a master's student, generally you get the designation of engineer two, and if you're a PhD, you get senior engineer. So I'll talk about my role, which is like engineer two. You can expect the base salary anywhere between 110 to $180,000 base.
180,000 for someone who has who hasn't had experience in, technically, and that is amazing. But of course, 180 is like Nvidia's,
Yes.
Qualcomm's, and all of that. But AMD is also like, not that far. They are the three top people
Yes.
in the chips and all of it.
Yeah.
And you kind of mentioned base salary.
Yes.
What, like, maybe explain what is the total comp?
Okay, so total comp, I would say somewhere in between 180 to maybe 280 to 300 total comp.
This is like $300,000. Nothing. uh, th- so $300,000. Maybe like we should explain people, because again, assuming people might be watching this from India and they might not understand what total
Yes.
comp means. So base salary for people, this is like the salary you will actually get it in your bank account. So let's say that is 180. Now
Yes.
another like $200,000, which if your package is like $300,000 or
Yes.
120,000,
Yeah.
that would be your signing bonus, that would be
Yes.
your stocks, that would typically a lot of companies will give you anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 in stocks.
Yes.
And this stocks does not mean that you have it. You have it, probably will, you will get the stock in the period of 4 years. Typically, most this is the most 25% every time. So
Yeah.
once you complete 1 year, you get out of 200,000 50,000 in your
Yes.
stock. Then it's up to you. You want to sell it, keep it, whatever you want to do. Then again,
Yes.
you complete second year, you get another $50,000, and
Yes.
so on and so forth.
Yes.
Signing bonus is up to you. You can negotiate. There's a relocation bonus. In
Yes.
Prathame's case, I don't know if you relocated from Colorado or not,
Yeah.
but that could be another thing that you companies will say like, hey, we'll pay you $20,000,
Yes.
and it's up to you. You want to use the entire 20,000 to relocate, or just use 5,000 and then keep the rest 15,000. So
Yeah.
anything that I can
Relocation
say.
applies to internships as well. All my internships, they afford relocations as well.
Wow. And what's the typical relocation from
So
Colorado
initially
to?
for my company, it was flat $5,000. But companies like Nvidia, Nvidia and Tesla, they apply on weekly basis. They give you around like $400 per week throughout the course of your internship.
Got it. So and so it's like, assuming it's like 10 weeks, so that'll be 4,000, $5,000, same similar, right? But that's internship. Full time, you will typically get three times more, is my
I
understanding.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what's your thought in negotiation? Like, here's my school of thought, and this is something my recruiter has told me.
Mhm.
Every single time the first offer,
Mhm.
is should not be your last offer, because they always have a room for negotiation. um,
Yes.
and you should negotiate. But in your case, like, what is your opinion?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like they'll try to lowball you and keep with the. I think that's a good thing in California, where it's by law you have to mention the range on your job description, so you get a rough idea that how much the company is willing to pay on you. So I feel that gives you a good spectrum of where you want to put your ask at, and then they will negotiate and they'll be like back and forth.
Oh, did you negotiate? Don't tell me your numbers, but did you negotiate and were you scared? Like, okay, what if I say this and,
Yeah, I did negotiate, and yeah, of course I was scared because like at that time even the industry was, I feel it's now after 6 months down the line it's much better, but when I was negotiating in around February March of 2024, the market was very bad, and like people were going crazy for like even for one job. And so I had the thing back of my head that I should not say some crazy numbers and they will just drop me for that number. I know it won't happen, but it's just a
yeah.
scary in the head. But yeah, so for in my case, HR came to me like right after they told me, okay, so we got a confirmation from the team, and they want you to get you on board for full time, and we should schedule a call for discussing the compensation. So I had the first call where they did not give me any numbers; they just asked me all my numbers, like what you expect from us, and they just took the numbers, and then HR contacted my manager and they discussed the numbers and they came back to me, and whatever the offer they came back to me, I added few things into that. Then he again went back to the manager and my manager approved it. Then he got back to me that whatever you asked, it's approved, and now I'll start drafting off a letter. And
Amazing. And again, when it comes to negotiation, it's not just the base salary that you can negotiate. This is like a big mistake. You can negotiate stocks, you can
yes,
negotiate your relocation, you can negotiate your sign up bonus. Sometimes you can even negotiate your time off, you can negotiate remote working. There's so many factors you can negotiate. Um, is there anything specific that in your mind, like, this is like a, you should have like a no thing, like this is at least I want this.
yeah.
Yeah.
So like I had few numbers in my head, and I knew I didn't want it to go below that. I talked with few of my seniors who are working in AMD, and like what should be the and I like asked with few colleagues which were like joined like a year back or something, and I just got like what's the current market situation and
Mm.
what the AMD. So I feel before going to any negotiation, do your homework, know
Mm.
like what's the current like rate going on, like how much the companies are paying, and like you can if you have like one more offer, you can like negotiate between these two as well, I feel.
100%. Yeah. And now, one other thing that I want to quickly talk about is Bay Area. Obviously you are in Bay Area, which is also expensive to live. What,
Yes.
like, as a student life, it's a little different cost of living versus as a working full-time professional. What is the cost of living over there?
So cost of living, of course, Bay Area has the highest. I think still I feel I got a really good deal. So I pay here 1550, including my amenities and utilities per month for one bedroom, one bathroom, and on top of it,
But are you sharing this, or is this your
a
thing?
three bathroom apartment, and me and two of my friends, we are sharing this,
Mm.
and yeah, so that comes down to around 1550 per head, and on top of it, then I would say around $1,000 more in groceries and like eating out, going out with friends and everything, and I feel the car payment and the fuel.
In Bay Area, you need a car,
Yes,
not like New York where you can just do subways or anything.
where you need a car, like the public transport is not
Don't
that.
tell me you bought Tesla though.
Oh no, no, no.
Okay. This
Don't
is
touch.
like a common thing that I see. I guess in your case, I would be okay because you also don't have any debt, so you could
Yeah,
afford
yeah.
Tesla. But what I see a lot of people do is like,
Yeah, my roommate has it, so
yeah, yeah,
that
I
takes.
have $80,000 debt, and just because I got a job, I'm gonna get Tesla and put another $80,000 debt. It's like, no, 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 don't do that.
I just did I just did like market research, best resale value. Honda gives the best resale, so I
Yeah,
just want
same. I
to
have Honda as well. Yep. Amazing. That's super cool.
yes.
Any last words of wisdom to aspiring people who are in this industry or job hunting? Yeah, what would you want to tell them?
I feel just don't give up, and because it's not the easy journey. It's not like a lot of people I think like have the perception in back in India while coming that, oh, once I come to US, life is going to be very easy, it's everything. But it's not, trust me, it's not. It's very hard. And I think you just have to be persistent and like just keep applying, like just accept the fate that yeah, you gonna have a lot of rejections at the starting. If you have that thing in the, like if you are considering the worst case scenario, then if anything better happens, it's a good thing for you. So I feel just keep applying, keep giving your 100%, and learn from iterations. If you have like one failed interview, just note down, write down what are the things you could have been done better in that, and try try not to repeat your mistakes. If you're doing that one mistake in one interview or one application, and just like learn from your past mistakes, and the next iteration just make it better. That's
Love it. I love it. You forgot that they should also watch my channel, but it's okay.
it. Definitely, like I kid you not, I found out your channel in around October of 22 after coming here actually.
Hmm. Yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
I was in back in India. But yeah, from there, I think I would have watched your every podcast till from
Mm.
there, and learn a lot of tools like F1 Hire. Or I remember you made a video about the tools like Hunter.io as well, and
Mm.
like, those tools as well. But once I got the Apollo was like a one solution for
Yeah.
everything,
Yeah.
and like tweaking the resumes, adding the things which like even like when I created my first draft of resume, I saw a few of your videos and it helped a lot.
Yeah, thank you. Again, I was not asking you say that, but yeah, I think uh, again, there's not a lot of content on my channel for electrical people. So I know Akhil, who's working now in Google as a chip verification design engineer. There's one more guy in Qualcomm, and then now you in AMD. So now I have three big companies who are in this. Yet to find someone from Nvidia, I guess. Hopefully, I'll find someone. But again, thank you so much. This was so helpful for me. And first of all, like the first 15 minutes was like a master class in career paths and all of it. I know it might, for some people, might be boring, but I think this was extremely helpful for me. So thank you again. Very appreciative of this. And I know we will be filming how you got your education done for completely free and with
Yes.
some savings. So we'll talk about that as well. But again, thank you so much. And until our next one.
Keep smiling and keep hustling.
Nice. Okay, great.